We are full-time world travelers who have been traveling abroad for the past 3.5 years to over 100 countries. Initially, we believed that booking Airbnbs was the best way to explore the world and live overseas. We heard from others of our age who were staying exclusively at Airbnbs, reserving them for months at a time. Now, we never considered alternatives like hotels or hostels and believed that Airbnb would be a great choice for us as well.
However, after a couple of years of Airbnb stays, we had a frustrating experience with a host that prompted us to reevaluate our choices. We decided to switch to hotels, and since then, we have stayed over 400 nights in various hotels.
Today, we want to share our negative experience that led us to make this change. We'll also discuss what we like and dislike about living in hotels and whether we have any regrets. So let's get started.
We're John and Bev, and we are the Retirement Travelers.
In 2021, we began our full-time travels abroad, and during our first year and a half, we stayed in over 40 different Airbnbs. Out of all of those stays, about half were great, while the other half had issues. Initially, we overlooked these problems, striving to maintain a positive attitude, understanding that travel, like life, isn't always perfect. We attributed these issues to the owners doing their best.
Among the less favorable stays, we walked away from 2 units, but in both instances, the owners allowed us to make the change without penalty, being understanding about the significant problems with their properties.
The final straw for us was a unit in Budapest. We booked a week stay at a rate of $176 per night, which was on the higher end for the area. Before our arrival, we exchanged several messages through the app and continued communicating with the owner via WhatsApp once we arrived.
Upon entering the unit, we encountered several issues. First, we learned that the manager was actually managing the unit and wasn't available locally. Secondly, we noticed that linens were left in the washing machine and we had to hang them to use the unit. Now, while this wasn't a major issue, it's not what we expected for a rental of that price. So the next day, we folded these items and continued with our visit.
Another significant issue for us was the lack of Wi-Fi in the living room. Since we manage our channel online and needed Wi-Fi to work, we moved a Chase lounge closer to the router for better access. The router was in a tiny office near the bedroom, and the signal was too weak to make it down the hall to the living space.
Throughout the week, we kept in touch with the owner. We let him know about a notice that was left in the door by a city official, and we also communicated that the Wi-Fi had an issue. He helped us manage the situation, and before we left, we returned the Chase Lounge to its original spot.
A week later, we were shocked to receive a negative review from the owner stating that we had moved the furniture and had been poor communicators. We reviewed our messages and realized that we had contacted him multiple times. To us, there had been no reason for misunderstandings, and we believed our communication was more than adequate. We were always polite and never complained about the laundry. We were gracious and had no reason to think he was unhappy with us.
Naturally, we were a little upset about the review because we considered ourselves very conscientious and valuable Airbnb customers. We felt the feedback was highly unfair.
After receiving this review, we reflected on all the times we had overlooked problems such as bugs and a lack of hot water. We had tolerated quite a few negative experiences over the year and a half, and frankly, we had reached our limit. From us, we always gave the host the benefit of the doubt in our review. We were publicly kind, and if we had an issue, we directed it to them in private so that they could correct it without a negative rating going on their unit. But this review simply made us feel cheated when we were the paying customers.
We felt mistreated by this host, and we felt the whole system that Airbnb has regarding reviews is unfair and inappropriate. Now, we understand that it is a way to weed out bad actors, but we were far from bad actors. We were good customers, but our loyalty was shot by this point.
Now, once our last booking was completed, we vowed to never stay in another Airbnb. This decision saddened us because we had met some incredible hosts who provided us with lovely stays. However, overall, We were tired of the many hoops we had to jump through to stay in Airbnbs. We had to wait for hosts to let us in. We endured lengthy orientations, and we were tired of paying high cleaning fees on top of the high fees we were already paying to rent the unit.
What we encountered more than we realized at the beginning was that we were choosing units that were owned by corporations or by investors who were buying up places to essentially make a huge business out of the platform. You know, we're all about hustling to make it in the world, but dealing with corporate property managers is different than dealing with local hosts who were single owners.
I remember the first hotel we booked after this debacle. We walked into a lovely hotel, received a key, and headed to our beautiful room. Everything was predictable. The Wi-Fi was great, the linens were clean and crisp, and we even enjoyed an included buffet breakfast in the morning. Everything was moving in the right direction.
Since then, we have stayed in hotels all over the world. Out of the 400 nights, we can say that we've only had really one very bad experience, a hotel in Dublin, Ireland. Now, in that case, we also walked away, taking the loss without looking back. Overall, though, we've had very good stays with excellent accommodations.
Many people have asked how we can afford hotels, assuming that Airbnbs are cheaper. For us, we never stayed in budget accommodations. Our budget for most cities was $100 a night, but there were times when we paid much more. When we factor in the cleaning fees and the service charges that Airbnb imposes, we found that we can generally find hotels for this similar cost. There's just no incentive money-wise for us to stay in Airbnbs.
The one item that we miss about Airbnb was units with a washer, and we usually don't get these in hotels. So when we book a hotel, we also search for laundry services nearby and make a note in our organizer so that we'll be prepared to know where to go when we get there.
We're often also asked about traveling without a kitchen. Now, typically we enjoy a hotel breakfast and dine out once a day. After raising 5 kids, I honestly find cooking to be tiring, and we appreciate the opportunity to experience local cuisine. Additionally, we no longer have to worry about whether our Airbnb has basic cooking items like pans or dishes. We also avoid the expense of buying items that we would inevitably leave behind, such as aluminum foil or cooking oil. Previously, this made us feel like we were wasting money with every stay.
For the most part, we use 2 booking systems for our accommodations. We utilize our travel points to book stays with Hyatt for nicer hotels, and we use Booking.com for other options. One reason we prefer Booking.com is its straightforward rating system, which allows us to spend very little time reading reviews compared to the many hours it took us to plan 6 months of travel on Airbnb.
Our travel style involves moving locations once a week. For someone traveling at this pace, we do not recommend using Airbnb. It's difficult to get your money's worth with the additional cleaning fees, and we believe that for stays of a week or less, opting for a hotel is a clear choice.
There are 3 scenarios in which Airbnb makes more sense than hotels. First, if you need to book a long stay of, say, a month or more. Second, if you're traveling with a large family and require a bigger home. And third, if you're looking to travel very inexpensively and are open to staying in a shared home by renting a single bedroom.
However, there are notable downsides to Airbnb. Many stays are unpredictable, the pictures can be extremely misleading, and the map view is often vague, making it hard to explore the surrounding area. We've arrived at locations only to find that the neighborhood was not ideal. We prefer to stay in safe areas and dislike walking through back alleys or undesirable situations that make us feel unsafe.
Being close to public transportation is also important to us, but it can be challenging to know where you'll end up when choosing an Airbnb. With hotels, we can see the exact address on the map and check the surrounding areas with the street view mapping.
Another aspect we dislike about Airbnb is having to prepay for a place. When we were booking accommodations a year in advance, we tied up a lot of money. We appreciate the flexibility of being able to pay at a hotel when we actually check in. Moreover, we have come to value the ease of cancellations that booking offers. Yes, it may cost a bit more to book those, but if our plans change, we can simply push a button to cancel and make new arrangements.
Overall, our experience has led us to believe that Airbnb has fundamental issues. We've observed how Airbnb rentals affect communities and alter neighborhoods and real estate markets. We are particularly concerned about potential safety issues as well. We appreciate hotels that utilize a rekeying system. Who wants to stay in a home where the number of keys in circulation is actually unknown? We also want the assurance of smoke and fire detectors, and we've heard some horror stories related to these matters.
So, are we happy with our decision to move away from Airbnb? Absolutely. We do not regret our choice to stay in hotels. While we don't have a kitchen or a washer readily available very often, we are willing to make that compromise. We are on an incredible journey, moving each week. We're not sitting around watching Netflix. We're out living our life to the fullest. If that means making a quick trip to the laundromat or supporting a local restaurant, we're perfectly fine with it. This lifestyle works for us in so many ways, and the convenience and simplicity of hotels fit our travel style. We hope this video helps you make some decisions, and we'll see you next time.
Be sure to hit subscribe and follow along on our retirement journey around the world.